And hello, folks. What's up? We got 5 watching. Thank you. I hope everybody's doing good. Got a good video for tonight with some more face stuff. And we'll start that in a little bit. And I hope, again, that everybody's having a good weekend. Not a very active night. Been go all day, so I'm just kind of chilling. Calling it a slow night. Been go. I'm telling you. Trying to play catch up now. Hopefully we'll take care of putting my little brother to rest this week and get it all done and over with. You can tell I've been running. But it's been good. And like I said, I hope everybody's having a good day and everything's been exciting. Yeah, we're going to do one of her Fae videos, and then I think while people comes in, I'm going to show hopefully I can show the title page or thumbnail for a video Monday. Let me see if I can pull it up. And I'll put that on the side here so people know. See if I can find it here. Oops. I'm in 100 here. Got dark. Yeah, it will. I got a dark screen going on. One sec. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's make that bigger. Can I make that bigger? Let me see if I can make that bigger. Go back. Do this. And then go back. Okay. And then move that over here, lighten me back up again. Present. She's doing a Slender Man, which is really cool. Share screen. Right there. There we go. Let me do it the other way here. And that's her video for Monday at 11. Slender Man. I like Slender Man stuff. And it's pretty funny. It was a creepypasta, but people don't realize that this entity has been around for a while. A long while. Oh, when I first started reading some of these creepypastas, I'm like, man, these people are retelling stories I've heard moons ago. Like the rake and stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that for now. I'll leave it up for a bit. I hope people are good. Nobody's talking. That's fine. I'm glad people are watching. Uh-oh, did I screwed something up here? Let me stop that. Get going here. Get that out of there. And there we go. That was weird. I was glitching here. Good. There we go. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Much better. Much, much better. I see 6 here. Please say something. Let me know you're alive out there, okay? Yeah, we'll start the video here in a little bit. Oracles was really good last night. I don't say a whole lot during Oracles because you see what happens. She's so focused. And I let her do her thing. I'm just there to keep the list. And it's hard to talk and chat anymore, too. I mean, you people get going, and I have to keep an eye on who's coming and going. I'm starting to realize, and I'm still learning the people that come in and just say hi and then leave. So, or sometimes they just leave it on the browser, which is nice. That way she gets the view for it, which is awesome. And we appreciate that so much. And I probably will talk a little bit more during her video because, you can actually, if you don't want to hear my mouth, you can actually go and watch it yourself. Plus, I'm going to, like I said, I'm putting some of this on Rumble too. So I want everybody to be able to go to Rumble and watch some of this stuff and catch up, give her some views over there. And then once I can get her seated down and I can work with her about going live. Hello, Mr. Roger Blair. How are you tonight, sir? Appreciate you. Really do. I hope you're having a good night. Are you waiting for all these good movies that are getting ready to come out? There's a whole bunch coming out, man. Might be worth something this year. Watching, of course, King Kong and Godzilla. I'm just anxiously waiting to buy Godzilla -1 on probably Blu-ray. Some will probably get 4K because he's got 4K upstairs, so which is nice. It's nice to see me. But that movie, I loved that movie. It was just too good. I totally enjoyed that movie. And I can't wait for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And so what else? Was something else. I believe Chris Stuckman's movie, if you don't know who he is, he's a movie reviewer on here on YouTube. He's made a movie, and it's supposed to come out here pretty soon. I can't wait for that. Hopefully it gets there. See if they follow through on a couple other ones. Prey 2 doesn't look too bad on Hulu, so I'm going to have to go watch that. I enjoyed the first one. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So everybody get over that glitch with everybody losing their cell phones for a while there. Godzilla X King Kong, yeah. Well, we'll see. I hope they, I like good popcorn movies. That's the kind of guy I am. I'll pretty much watch anything as long as I can, enjoy the story and fit that. Some of the movies that's come out lately, I just kind of, I don't know. So, but I'm always going to be a fan of the kaijus. Godzilla, I go back way far. King Kong was one of the first movies my mom introduced me to, in fact. King Kong and Frankenstein were the first two. And then I was introduced to Godzilla and Chillicothe on Soup. I believe they were getting Soup out of Cleveland. And he was an afternoon. He wore it's like a Superman costume, and had a red nose. But he was out of Cleveland, and he had a Saturday afternoon movie. And I talked him out of watching NASCAR or something so I could watch something because I sit in a chair and rock a lot, even as a kid. So they put Godzilla on Soup, and it was like, I was in heaven ever since. So, but yeah, we're going to do one of our newer Fae. Well, it's not that new. I think it's like, let me make sure here. It's a year ago. I think this is when she was doing SOR. So she may talk about that. So what are you waiting for, Roger? Super host. Yeah, that's it. Super host. Thank you. I knew it was something like that. Man, in fact, they just had somebody had a post of all the old Cleveland shows, and he was in there. Yeah, super host. That's it. He was kind of like our Flippo the Clown here, if you know who Flippo the Clown was. In fact, I think my mom babysat his daughter for a short time. I remember that. But yeah, he was a big thing. He was the 4:00 afternoon movie, Monday through Friday. And then you had Fritz the Night Owl, midnight movie. And on Fridays, he had Chiller Theater. And then you had, that was it. That's for movie hosts here. No good old days. I wish they'd go back to doing that. I still watch Ven Gully when I get a chance because he's one of the last ones still around. And then the one got Fright Night. They came on, 40 Channel 43. Yes. Yeah, we got some of the cable stations in Central Ohio carried it. They don't anymore. It kind of bums me out. I miss all those old, home, what I call home network shows. They were always kind of good, fun. You felt like, hey, you were part of something. You knew it took place right here in your hometown. Cleveland, I think Cincinnati had a few. Yeah, WB 43. I remember the logo now. Yeah, those are the good old days, man. I miss those days. Now you just stream everything. and they charge you a penny for everything, man. That's why I still like my, I'm telling you, folks, if you don't collect DVDs, now's probably a good time to do it. They're slowly disappearing off the shelves. A lot of stores are going to stop carrying them. I believe Walmart's going to stop. Best Buy is definitely going to stop carrying them. So I've been loading up on the DVD collection, Blu-ray collection. I still have a lot of my VHSs. I have a movie on VHS that I would love to find on either Blu-ray or DVD, and that's Night Flyer by Stephen King. You can't find that movie anywhere, but that movie traumatized the guy that starred in it. Kind of messed with him. But the ending is like really, I mean, it's almost bad. I personally think it's worse than The Mist. That ending's bad, but the ending in this movie, Night Flyer, it's messed up. And it's hard to find. You never hear about it. They don't talk about it. But I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on VHS. Yeah, the new Deadpool movie. Yeah, I want to see that because, there's a lot of static with him and Hackman going around with Disney. So we'll see what happens. I mean, guys, let's see how much fun he pokes at him. I guess he pokes a lot of fun at him in the movie. So let's see. Everybody, I think he pokes fun at everybody. So it should be good. But Deadpool's always good. And he does a great job. Hey, Jim, how you doing? There's 6 people here, 8 people now. So thank you for saying hi. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'll start a video here in a little bit. I keep an eye on time. Usually I start around 12:30 and let people roll in. But like I said, it's a good one tonight. It's a newer one. I think it was done a year ago, so I would say around SOR, about the time of SOR. When she was working on Spaced Out Radio doing the weekend show. Oh, great movie talk. I ramble. I love that stuff. My mom was a big movie buff. My mom was all the movies, and Dad was, the war movies, the cowboy movies. And my mom was the one that introduced me to all the good. Hey, Chris, I was getting ready to message you tomorrow. I heard you hadn't been feeling good, sir. I hope you're good, man. And happy belated birthday. Did you have a good one? I hope you weren't laying in bed sick all the whole time. That would suck. And I will be coming down soon. Edna, there she is. I hope you're feeling good too, little lady. I really do. And like I said, during her video tonight, I may talk a little bit more. Because if you want to watch a video without my big ugly mugging around, then you can watch it on your own or go to, like I said, I'm going to post a lot of this stuff also on Rumble. And I'll post a link in that later too. Because we want to do some live shows there. We can be a little bit more free. Still sick. Oh, buddy. And Aunt, how you doing? You doing good? Yeah, my dad's a big John Wayne fan too. Big John Wayne fan. But he also liked Randy and Randall Scott and Glenn Ford. He liked them all. What's his the one guy? Hold on, I'll think of it. Sooner or later, I'll think of it. Got some tests back. Looks like I need more. Oh, to double check, I think, right? You didn't say, did they give you results or just said that, hey, we need to look at some more things? Did YouTube change something? My chat screen seems to be smaller. I think they changed the format a little bit. I noticed that today. I got it. Google did a big old update. So it's highly possible. I've noticed some small changes. Mine's set up a little weird. So, but it does look smaller and it's rounder. If you want to get what I'm saying, the corner's not sharp anymore. It's round. Yeah, and I've been keeping you in my thoughts. You too, Chris, because there's nothing worse than being sick on your birthday. It just sucks. But I will be done that way. I'm trying to get a hold of my friend John now. I need to get a hold of him. I've called a couple times, but he hasn't called back, and I hope he's okay. Because I don't think how anybody in his new wife, or not new wife, but his second wife, I don't think she knows how to get a hold of me unless he's told her how. I don't know. But I haven't heard anything, and I just hope he's just working his butt off, because he's kind of like me. He likes to work, and I miss work because I used to work all the time. But let me know, Edna, what the scoop is. When you go back in for your second set of tests? And Jarvis, man. And Roger's here, and Jim's here. We're doing about 11 people. Like I said, I think her video tonight, and I am going to talk a little bit more through it, so bear with me. Her video tonight, I'm trying to figure out how long it is. It's about 30 minutes, which is okay. Let me do this so you can, because I'm not really typing in chat, so. But it'll be a good one. Google tried to change my credit card info over the past 7 weeks. They froze my bank, and I have to get a new one. What? Oh, you got to watch. There's some weird crap going on. I emailed you, Ghost, when I know exactly what's going on. I can't go on like this. That's for sure. Oh, no, don't. Get answers. Like I said, it doesn't hurt to get second and third opinions. These tests may give you some answers that you need. And I honestly, this is what I just got done watching the whole first season of The Last Airbender. Was it any good? Hold on, let me talk to Edna real quick. And I think this is some kind of repercussion of you guys getting rid of that entity. Like I said, you guys are bright. And Patricia thinks the same thing. But we don't think it'll bother you as long as you guys are aware. Okay? And it comes around, you just shoo it away. But it was mad at you. And it kind of took it out on you. So she says, like I say, you just got to be strong. And now it's up to you to fight this thing. Because it's not fighting you anymore. It's just what it did to you. You're feeling the aftermath. And you're feeling it good, I can tell. Just get every opinion, because right now it's up to you to get you these answers. And you got not only people watching over you, you've got things watching over you. Okay? You'll get your answers. Just be patient. I think it can be fixed. So just stay strong. Be patient. I know it's hard. And it takes doctors sometimes a little bit to get answers. And if you don't like what you're hearing, you go get more answers. Okay? But so far it hasn't come back. Yes, I don't think it will. Like I said, it knows you guys now. Like I said, it was pissed at you and it took it out on you. And you're feeling the aftermath. And that's what happened. Hello, MT Paranormal Life. I wanted to say hi. Amazing. You liked it? We'll see. I'm pretty picky. But I'm not an airbender guy. I wasn't the last airbender guy. My son is, so I'm sure he'll watch it. I'm just patiently waiting for the second season of One Piece. And then I watched this new one on new anime on HBO. Ninja Kama. You have to forgive me. But I really liked it a lot too. It kicked butt. Now X-Men 97, I'm not going to probably watch. I don't want to be disappointed. I was a big fan of that show. So was Giles. So we'll just have that cartoon. I may watch a couple, see what they did with it, but I'm real picky when it comes to certain things. But if it's popcorn worthy, I'll probably watch them. Yeah, Shogun I'm waiting for. I think Dad's actually what wants to watch that with me. But yeah, and I think you guys are aware now that just don't fret, but be patient. If you don't like what the doctors are saying, go get second and third opinions, son. Yeah, we're gonna usually it's Gemma's replay, and what I do is I play one of her older videos from like a year ago. I play some of her old stuff too. Like lately I've been playing some of the stuff that she did about Fae, and I'll play that video. And sometimes I'm starting to now point where I'm not going to sit through them anymore and just play it. I'm going to talk. And if you guys want to go back and watch it without my ugly mug inside of it or talking through it, because I'm not going to talk through it, but I'll stop it, maybe make a comment what I think, and then you can go back and watch it without my ugly mug in it. Hey, Guardian Jackpot, what's up? In my dream, I was fighting. Yeah, and I was fighting it and winning. See, that's what happened. You won. But he left a mark on you. It left a mark on you. I don't want to say he, but it left a mark on you. Okay? And you're going to have to fight. Like I said, we always say when you involve yourself in stuff like this, no matter what Gemma does, what I see every day, because I don't really interact with it. I try as little as possible to interact. Even seeing it, it takes a toll on you. When you interact with something like that, it takes a big toll on you. And I don't care how protected you are, it takes a physical toll on you. And Patricia said the same thing. Now it's up to you to be strong, be faithful, stay strong as a family. You should get through this. And she said the same thing. Do not, if you don't like what you're hearing from the doctors, you're not getting better, you keep pushing the doctors. The hangout at SteamYard afterwards off the record. I hope they come out with season 2 of Tulsa King. Yeah, did you hear his family's all his daughters and his kids were all peeved off because he's moving to Florida. He's leaving California. But yeah, Tulsa Kings, I liked it. When you said your bruises always look like burns, I froze. That's why I wanted you. Yeah, those do look like the ones I get too. Yeah, not much difference at all. Not much, but usually mine either look like handprints, like something like the fingers, and sometimes it'll be like one, like it just burned me. But it doesn't hurt for like when I first see it, when it first happens, I don't feel it. I just see it, and then like a day later, it hurts and it's real touchy, and then it fades away. But it fades away really weird. It's kind of like a burn would fade away, but there's no bubble or it's weird. That's never happened before. You're gonna experience a lot because you experienced something big time. What do you think the little critters are watching over you? And they are watching over you. There is something watching over you. Yeah, see, that's the thing. The only time the one time that I actually knew I was getting it was in that carryout when that thing reached around that guy and grabbed me because he didn't like me talking to him. Cool. I'm ready for that. I liked it. I like Stallone. He's a Chad, man. There's no doubt about it. He's a Chad. Yeah. You are. Just keep faith. That's the key, hon. That's the key. Keep faith in the family, too. Your family is one big protection unit. You guys are so bright, you better protect each other real close. That's a big, Patricia even said the same thing. And she was talking to, when I saw her the other day, because she's getting ready to leave out of town again, she said that she has clients. And she said she has a client that's just like you guys. They're so bright. She says she has a hard time walking in her house because that's how bright they are. And she says it's not a bad thing. It's just good, solid protection, but you're a beacon for anything and everything. That's like Gemma. And sometimes despite what goes on in her life, sometimes she shines real bright, and I don't think how much of a beacon she becomes. And there's a couple of you in here in chat that don't like that. So is everybody having a good weekend? I know Edna's feeling a lot better because she's chatting it up. So good to see you, Chris. I have been worried about you. Like I said, I was going to message you tomorrow. I was going to try to get a hold of my buddy Tuesday because I know he's usually off on Tuesdays. I want to go down and see John. I figured I'd swing by and see you. Especially as crazy as this weather's been. I'm going to try to go down before the weather gets crazy again. Or I may have to wait until April. Huh? Right now, I just got to take care of my brother. Get him home. and get him to put to rest. The actors strike back in the summer. Yeah, delete it backed everything up. Yeah. So MT and Guardian, thank you guys for showing up. I mean, I like seeing new people and regulars. You guys are starting to show up in all the streams. I appreciate it. Gemma loves it. I don't like pushing for donations or tips, but folks, it would help her out. Like I said, we're trying to make the channel grow. I want to get some software so we can be a little bit more graphic oriented. Though I'm not a big graphics guy. I like to go and watch channels, flipping stuff around. But when she does videos, I think she needs to add a little bit more graphics to her videos. The oracles, it's hard to do that because the way she does oracles, she ain't gonna change that way because she enjoys it too much. And maybe Tuesday we could probably use some, but I want to get some better stuff. I got a computer set up now that has a pretty decent graphics card, so I'm going to try to work it up a little bit. And then I got to come up with some stuff for Rumble, because you have to run certain stuff on the day you're streaming, I think. Been sick for a month. That sucks. That just sucks. What's the video tonight? Tonight is let's talk about Fae, elves, goblins, and pixies. I'm sticking with the Fae right now. And then I may go back and start playing some of the older stuff, like her original first 2 videos on the Black Eyed Kids she did a long time ago, like 2 years ago. So, but tonight we're still sticking with the Fae stuff. Like I said, I'm trying to be careful what I use now because I'm porting some of this over to Rumble, and I want to make now. See, a lot of people left YouTube to go to Rumble, but it's always good to have. Try to get involved in as much of these sites as you can. Spread it out a little bit. Back, I meant. Yeah, the doctor and the writer strike sent it. Yeah, it did. It sent everything. It screwed everything up. But I can understand their worries. I mean, I'm not a big, with the crap they've been putting out lately, I'm not a big fan. But I understand their, worries, because if AI starts taking it over, and they can copy anything and everything now, even actors, and that's scary stuff. My home is my peace. Oh, there you go. Waiting on the Bigfoot comedy movie Squatch Sunset. I heard about that. I hope it's good. I hope it'll be all right. I hope it's got a lot of good chuckles in it. And they don't make too much fun of it. Because, sooner or later we're going to have the proof. I think with the way the veil is starting to lift again, I think pretty soon we're not going to have to ask for proof. It's going to be standing in front of us. A lot more people are seeing stuff now. Weirder stuff is going on. A lot of weird videos of really strange UFOs now. But my opinion on all that is a little different. And I'm going to do a stream on Rumble, and I'm going to speak with it. I'm going to finally tell everybody where I stand on this, on all this stuff. But I think most of you get the hint by the way I talk in here. I was thinking of goblins just before you went live, Ghost. Seems like, yeah, goblins are an interesting thing. I'm also gonna have Gemma look up and try to do something else. I think she did something on doppelgangers a while back ago. But I'm also, these people, there's a lot of videos of people hearing themselves talking, or like their girlfriends calling for them, but the girlfriend's laying next to them in bed, but they hear her in the hallway. Well, oh, that's a skinwalker or a demon. It could be a doppelganger. What is a doppelganger? What really is a doppelganger? Is it the evil version of us, another dimension, or us in another universe, multiverse? So I want her to do another one on doppelgangers. Yeah, I see. Here's the thing. It's not just conjuring, but the more you talk about this stuff, the more you give it life. I mean, you feed it. That's why they tell you, really, if you see something in your house, don't acknowledge it, because if you acknowledge it, you give it a reason. Mimics can copy your voice too. Yes, I agree. And I do agree with that. But there's some of these videos, it comes off to me more as a doppelganger. But I know what you're saying about the mimics, and actually that's a good thing to talk about too. Thank you, Munchie, and welcome to chat. Good to see you, Munchie Chipmunk. I like that. Yeah, that's actually a good point, and that is something that doesn't get talked a whole lot about either. I mean, Gemma stirred up the black-eyed kids again. So are we going to start seeing? Now everybody wants to talk about black-eyed kids. If you have 20,000 people believing in something, you can't create it. It don't probably take that much. They're manifesting it. Yeah, no doubt. I totally agree with that. I agree with that a lot. You feed it. You give it life. No, I totally agree with that. Hey, we're hitting some good points tonight. And this should be a good, if I remember right, this is one of her good videos. I mean, all her videos are good. But I really like this one because she really gets into it. In 30 minutes, yeah, she probably does. And I'll try not to, if I'll only interrupt it when I feel like I want to say something. Because I do like letting them play through, because you guys get a pitch on it and I get a chance to rest a little bit. Now, I never realized how much I stream. I mean, it's been crazy lately because I haven't streamed as much because of all the craziness going on here. But yeah, I stream a lot. I'm on here a lot. So if not here, in the background. So yeah, it gives me a little break, and I get to watch you guys talk and talk with you. Look at the salamander, the Slender Man, and all the people who believe the crucifix. Yeah, but see, even though they didn't call him the Slender Man, there have been entities seen like that in the past before Slender Man became a creepypasta. I just think they evolved it even more. You know, if you understand what I'm saying, there was an entity like that before that, but it wasn't. It was the same entity, but it didn't wear a suit and do certain things. And when they created this creepypasta, I think they literally evolved because of that. And I think things like that happen too. I mean, the rake and the pale crawler, basically kind of the same thing. Now, Ryan's better at this, and I hope he stops in tonight, because I still have to watch his interview not too long ago because I missed it. But, you know, the pale crawler seems to come around more caves and water, where rake is more like a forest dwelling thing. But they didn't call them rakes. I didn't know what to call them, and I've been seeing them. I've seen them, those things. I think some of the things I may have seen have been pale crawlers too. But I think the ones I've seen, the majority of them had to have been some form. I call them rakes now because I kind of, when I first saw the creepypasta, I was like, that's something I've been seeing heck ever since I was a teenager. And it almost seems to always happen in the woods, not around as much caves, as much as just like deep forests. But yeah, mimic, manifesting this stuff, it all happens. You feed these things. You bring them to life. You give them more power. And everybody has a ghost channel, and, you know, talking about ghosts or Bigfoot or UFOs or cryptids in general. You know, the sightings seem to have really spiked even since all these channels are starting to get real big. Not even here on YouTube, but there are some in Rumble and some of the other platforms, but on television. I mean, how many paranormal shows now are on television or in streaming services? Then countless horror movies. Slenderman could have been a sighting of something else, a tall white. Yes, and I totally agree with that too. People like to get attention and click. See, that's true too. I mean, that's like, you got to be careful now because AI is getting so good. You got to really pay attention because AI is not perfect. And if you really study the videos, you'll know which ones are AI and which ones are not. But if you're not paying attention, some of the stuff, and even some of the picture stuff that's coming out now, you got to really kind of have to go look. It's kind of like, oh, that's AI generated. And yeah, and now it is about attention and clicks. And that don't help either, because that false mentality, casts doubt on the things that may actually be very real. So what time we got here? I'm going to get ready to start this video. I was just watching Squash the Theory. Good channel. Is it? No, I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to check that one out. Let me get this video started, because I do want to watch this one. It's been a while. What's my thing here? Okay. Get rid of that. Let's get this rocking. I'll let you guys talk while you watch the video. And I'm going to have a smoke. Let me switch this over here. Oh, ding dong me. What was I thinking? Okay, let's try this again. My camera's in the way. Here we go. Put it up here. Let me move me around here so I can be out of your guys' way. There we go. And I think that's big enough. And let's do this.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here,
this is loud enough for you guys.
My name is GemmaJade, but today I'm sure you can hear the birds. I've got the windows open. I wanted to get back to discussing the Fae. I found 2 missing in the Fae scripts that haven't been done yet that I wrote. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's get into it. More of the missing in the Fae, because I know you guys love this so much. And I will let you.
Not every bump in the night is a ghost, but I'm always walking around the night. So you sure it's not always a ghost?
At the end of the video.
Hello, Laura. How you doing, hon?
How to purchase my book, Missing the Fae Theory, on Amazon if you haven't done that yet. So, as we all know, or we most likely wouldn't be here watching this installment of The Missing in the Fae, many of us have a fascination with fairies. The Hollywood or Disneyfied versions we used to see in our head immediately upon just hearing the word is most likely long gone if you watch the other videos I've done on this subject. Even the most educated and dedicated researcher could easily be confused by these beings, as it's still unknown what exactly they really are. The meaning of the word fairy from Latin is, quote, to enchant, a state, condition, realm of enchantment, end quote. For centuries, fairies and humans have existed side by side, sharing the earth and all that is in it. Humans are even said to have been involved with trading with the fairies and had daily interactions with them for numerous reasons. Unfortunately, since mankind has become so ruinous, the fairies are said to have been losing their powers. They were originally given dominion over the woods and the streams inside of them. They basically ruled over all of which is now called Mother Earth, until we started destroying the forests and breaking the sacred truces which we created millennia ago. Mankind's need for answers has had a devastating effect on all species of Fae as well. Our constant experimentation on them has turned them into an enemy, and a very formidable one too. While we have a general idea of what the Fae are and are learning about all of the different species and the ways which we shouldn't ever provoke them, unfortunately, sometimes we can do so unintentionally. Many are convinced this is one of the things happening in our woods and forests, our national parks too, to the people who end up missing. Are they accidentally crossing unseen boundaries or traveling to unknown lands? Are they inadvertently breaking the aforementioned truces between humans and the Fae agreed upon since the beginning of time? It's rumored we have driven them off of their own land, perhaps even underground. Could this be why they're seeking vengeance? Some even say the Fae are coming after us humans because they have a very strong sense of justice and or righteousness, which is offended by our constant pollution of their home in the woods of the world. Is it their hatred of human deceit that made them become so uncharacteristically vindictive, spiteful, and in some cases even violent? Do we have that much influence on them? Off we go, folks, for another walk through the realms of the unknown, straight into the worlds of the Fae. Do not cross slowly. Watch carefully what you come across, as what you see with your eyes may not actually be what's real. It's a little known fact that the Fae also have a very complex hierarchy and even have kings and queens. These kings and queens rule over more than just their own species, too. There are certain types too who cannot rule and are the low man on the totem pole, for lack of a better term. For example, goblins. Goblins are pests who work at the behest of greed. They always travel in pairs but never in groups. It seems they can't stand to be around each other any more than the other kinds of fae can stand to be around them. They are grotesque and one of the smaller species of fae. They are not only mischievous but hostile and won't hesitate to attack a helpless human walking alone. They are led by greed, not by money as some humans and fae are, but for gold and jewelry. Are we checking to see if there's any jewelry taken from the missing in the woods? Though small themselves, they are larger than the average toddler, mainly in girth. Part of what makes them so disgusting is they do not clean themselves except to bathe in mud and muck. The dirtier, the better. Ugh. They stink to high heaven and they're cowardly too. I say this and have mentioned a smaller child because, well, when a child goes missing in the woods, this is the species of fae I always first think of. Goblins usually won't go after anyone in a group and tend to make themselves invisible to the human eye and run off when there is more than one of us taking a hike or even camping. However, if you should be traveling alone on a hike or if you should not be keeping a close eye on your child, beware, for a goblin will sneak up on them and before they can even see anything, they'll be gone. They are not smart at all, though, and so a child perhaps wearing something that glitters or shines in the sun may inadvertently be attracting these vile little monsters. Once the child or lone adult is in the clutches of the goblins, they'll be searched head to toe and inside out for gold and jewels. Woe to the hapless victim should they not have any, for their fate could be worse than death. While goblins do mate and reproduce, they are the only species of fae that can turn a human into one of their own race. This is most likely why many children are never found. These are the goblins' favorite prey, these little children, because there's no challenge in it. They're lazy. They are slovenly and sickeningly obese, oftentimes slow and lazy and despise a challenge. Should your innocent child cross their paths, they will surely be frightened and can probably outrun the monsters, but if they don't, they will most likely be turned, their humanity and innocence gone during the transformation. They will be brought to wherever the goblin's lair is, whether in this realm or another, and they will never be human again, nor have any memory of ever being so. Though such things would be a violation of the ancient truths between us and the Fae, so much we have done is a violation that the goblins will usually not see much trouble for what they've done. The Fae, as we have come to know them, are quite spiteful and wicked for the most part at least, and even the ones who aren't won't risk themselves to speak out against such atrocities done to us humans, even our children, which is usually off limits to all but the goblins and the changeling elves. The goblins and the changeling elves. Aside from lusting after our human gold and jewels, there is one type of goblin almost worse than the regular ones we just discussed. These are the quote-unquote red hats. All goblins wear pointed hats, just like the gnomes, except these ones dye the tip in human blood. They will exsanguinate a human, large or small, old or young, smart or not.
Oh, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, Edna, aren't you a changeling? Didn't you have black eyes at one time?
Not just to have its blood for color on its and its family's wardrobe of clothing. There is only one way to escape the clutches of the goblin, and that is to hand over what it most desires. However, since most people who are in the woods, regardless of the reason, are not usually wearing much jewelry and aren't carrying any gold, in most cases at least, they're as good as gone once these inherently evil fae folk have them in their sights. Many humans, especially children, end up goblins in the end. Fairies live in other realms, and this is perhaps why they can't be so clearly defined all the time like we humans can be. For example, we all identify as human, but some may also identify as their nationality too, like I am Irish and Native American, things like that. The Fae don't work like this, and this is mainly the reason we have such a hard time distinguishing one from another as we do. During their monthly celebrations in the berry patches along the streams and hills in the deepest, darkest depths of the forests, while drinking magic wine and beer and doing their mating and celebrating, one species may in fact mate with another, creating a whole new type of being altogether. This is where some people think Sasquatch comes in as well. Or who knows what else is lurking out there that we might come to encounter someday, depending on how far the Fae go on the nights when the moon is just right and all care goes out the window. They do, though, consider themselves tied to one element only, and this is something which never changes. Their magic is usually intertwined with that specific element and therefore will be much weaker or perhaps non-existent if their particular element should be far away when they're trying to work their magic. For example, should you encounter a water sprite, think fast and run as far away as you can from the water as long as it's following you. Normally, a fairy, regardless of species, will not want to travel farther than the magic their element reaches. However, they don't want to risk a human going back to other humans and telling about the encounter, and therefore humans knowing for absolute fact that they do indeed exist. It seems that though they are everywhere and anywhere you find thick woods and forest areas, there's one particular place on Earth where goblins are becoming a serious problem. The goblin population is growing exponentially. Could there also be a missing child crisis? Would we ever really even know? With the way the media and the powers that be, whoever they may be, tends to selectively report on all things paranormal and or supernatural, like the way they do it, are they really going to tell us that this place has a goblin problem? In 2012, in Zimbabwe, a pack of goblins, all in groups of two, ran into a classroom full of schoolgirls and sent them running, screaming out of.
That is really interesting, isn't it? You can't remember the faces, but you can remember their hands changing. That's wild. And your hair turned brown. Now, see, my oldest daughter, she was born with coal black hair, and it was long. I mean, it was matted all the way down the back of her neck, and it stayed that way. There I am.
Of the room when they not only started trying to snatch anything sparkly and shiny off of the girls, but then started to transform and turn into actual baboons.
They are
so the goblins run in, they're grabbing for everything shiny and sparkly, and then they turn into baboons suddenly before the girls realize that they're being attacked by these goblins. Actual baboons. Think about this for a minute, because honestly, it's a bit genius. Who has more glittery and sparkly belongings than school-aged girls? Goblins, as previously mentioned, aren't usually so smart, except when emboldened by their numbers, meaning when they know if they should decide to work together, which they abhor doing, that their numbers will far surpass yours, they will attack and won't stop until they grab anything and everything that glitters and shines. In some cultures and legends, including those in Zimbabwe and the surrounding areas of that region, goblins are known to be even more sinister than we initially would ever have thought if we are from the United States, Canada, or even the UK. While our perception of them is as stated above, that they are greedy and will go after your children, which is horrible enough and probably one of the worst and most frightening things any of us could ever imagine as a parent, many of the legends from South Africa and surrounding areas have goblins invading marital beds and demanding sexual favors, both from men and women, and sometimes from both as a couple. Usually they'll use the couple's children as a kind of ransom held over the heads of the husband and wife in order to get them to comply with their deviant sexual desires and needs. Goblins are neither male nor female, but are also both. While this may not make much sense to you, maybe it isn't supposed to. This is just one of the many things which we as humans, and not a part of the fairy realm, could ever really be able to comprehend or wrap our heads around. If this sort of bedroom encounter should ever happen to you, do everything you can to fight, because they are nothing if not liars. And regardless of if you comply or not, most likely after they get what they want from you and your spouse, they will go after your child or children too. I want to move along now and discuss another much more popular type of fairy, and perhaps the first type many of us come to know as children, again, while reading these fairy tales. There are many different legends of the pixie. There is so much debate over.
Hey, Edna, now think about this. Do you really want to remember their faces? You may not want to remember those faces. There might be a reason why you forgot them. They could be a lot scarier than you think. You know, some of these things were not pretty.
For what the name means, where it came from, and also where the legends of these tiny creatures even began, that to even try and get a straight answer was nearly impossible. And trust me, when I researched for this book, and some of this is from the book, I couldn't find a definitive answer or anything, evidence-based. Obviously, a lot of this is from experience of people that we have to either believe or not believe.
I took myself out instead of clicking the one. I don't blame you. I would want to know too. I'm just as curious as you are. I'm not afraid to walk into the fire, as one says. But then again, with the things I see on a daily basis, it doesn't surprise me that I'd go look and want to know.
Believe at the end of the day, right? Because anything that's documented fact, and I talk about this in my book as well, is it documented fact actually? Or is it just a lot of people believe that it's real? Do we have DNA samples? No. Do we have photograph or video that definitively says it's not fake and it's the Fae? No. So at the end of the day, it's what we believe in. Since we're talking about fairies and the...
Is that your necklace she wearing, Edna? I had a friend who had multiple pictures of pixies who would come around her house at night near her outdoor lights. Very detailed. You could see the little faces, hairs, and all. Oh, really? Wow. I'm going to start this back up again.
The missing people in the woods, let's instead focus on what their connection could be, if any, to this missing phenomenon. The earliest version of the story, The Three Little Pigs, was published in 1853 and actually had three little pixies in place of these pigs.
Yes,
the legend of these particular Fae go back much further than that, though.
Like that.
Though pixies could be
which one
responsible for any number of the strange and mysterious vanishings in the woods, they, like many other Fae we have learned about in the past videos, are extremely fond of little children and will go out of their way very far to lure them into some form of play. In fact, it's said that their most favorite way to do this is to disguise themselves as a bundle of rags.
Actually, you may find that a lot of these cryptids and Bigfoot and things that we don't understand, they have rules. You know, we're all connected, you know, like we're supposed to have rules too. But there's rules they have to follow. And that goes just as much as in the boo-boo world, the boo world, the things that go bump in the night, to the cryptids that we see. They have rules that they have to follow too. That they're not supposed to cross.
Presumably,
I believe that.
So a child who doesn't know any better will come along and pick the rags up, allowing the pixie to transform like magic right before the child's eyes. Generally, you will hear that the pixie is friendly and helpful towards humans, especially the children for the most part, but I tend to believe otherwise.
See, Chris, I've heard stories like that too, you know, and I think Gemma talks about the little ones that she saw in her house, and I think they were house gnomes, but sometimes they can be pretty mischievous too. I will go out of my way to lure a kid and see wood pixie.
It seems foolish after all we've learned to even consider trusting any species of fairy for any reason, should we happen to cross paths with one. Again, that's just my opinion from my extensive research. I know a lot of you will disagree, and that's okay, as long as you please be respectful to me, each other, and respect yourself in the comments. The way pixies look will also vary greatly depending on where you are getting your information, with one thing always remaining the same. They are teeny, teeny, tiny. Besides hiding in or even pretending to be rags, they are absolute pests. Remember all of the stories we've been coming across lately about climbers just randomly unattaching from their safety harnesses and falling hundreds of feet to their doom, right? We've talked about that. We talk about it on MP&M, the scripts I write for them, and just in general over there, and all over YouTube, really, with the missing phenomenon stuff. Or we can even perhaps go to the people who are confused and wandering for whatever reason through the woods and found days later at the bottom of some cliff. While some have survived these falls, it should make one wonder if perhaps a pesky little pixie had set their sights on something the human had that it wanted and started buzzing around the person's head and face and making them stumble, therefore causing them to fall off the cliff. Once the human is down, whether passed out or deceased matters very little to the pixie. They will then go through the human's pocket.
Actually, you know, my relatives down along Chillicothe and all over, some of the grandparents, great-grandparents, told me stuff about little people too, all the time. Pixie's closest cousins are brownies, yep. That's why I like the brownies. That's why I like the browns, because of the little brownie.
Pockets and possessions and take whatever it wants and leave the rest. It's said they like to make their homes in shoes, which many find most interesting considering how many people who disappear in the woods who are gone forever, with all that's left behind being their sneakers, boots, shoes, even if it's just one. And sometimes, a lot of the time, it is just one. And that's so random, right? The person disappears into thin air. The only thing left behind is one shoe, or both shoes in some cases. Think about it. If you're going to build a home for you and your family, you want it to be sturdy and able to stand up to the elements of nature. Does it make sense then that perhaps a large sneaker or boot, which a human would use for hunting, hiking, climbing, would do just these things for a tiny little fairy if they made their home out of it? Obviously, a sandal would hold no interest to them if we're thinking along these lines, right? They're not going to build their home in a sandal. It's not sturdy.
What I
But
thought.
most people don't wear sandals while out in the woods anyway, right? Now, if you're hiking or hunting, because there is no one single place or story of origin for any type of fae species, it stands to reason, at least to some, that this must be proof that throughout the world over, at one time or another, someone has come across a fairy somewhere.
Littlefoot, yeah.
Depending upon the nature of their
That's what I've
encounter
heard.
and the species with
I couldn't
which
say
their
that
path
name,
had
but,
crossed,
yeah,
it's hard for me to say that because I have a list,
I did that.
is how each of these types of creatures got not only their name and reputation, but their entire legend. It really depends. There's no one on one singular point. I want to explain this because I feel like that's confusing the way I wrote it. If you've never heard of a pixie before and you come across or if you don't know anyone and you never heard a story of a pixie, but you know what they are, and you come across one in the woods, your experience with that pixie is going to be your encounter story, right? And that's what you're going to tell people. And some people are going to hear of the pixie, say you had a bad experience for the first time from you. So they're going to think pixies are bad. So that's what I mean when I say they get their reputation based on the experience of the person wherever they are in the world who has seen them. And I hope that makes sense. Another very interesting fact about fairies, which is true regardless of the race, is that they have visible auras just like humans. The difference, though, is that most humans, most of them, are able to see the fairy aura. This could well be why all of the confusion about what the creature was wearing. Perhaps if they're a breed which is known to wear green, but they have a red aura, this could be what's causing the confusion. It stands, though, that most often, regardless of the breed, they have a gray aura, the aura of mischief and misbehavior. The darker the gray, the meaner and nastier the breed. Remember, we're speaking of the mostly unknown, the aura of the fae, and therefore a gray aura on a human probably will not mean the same things. There is one very well-known story of a brother and sister fae of still unknown species that has resurfaced since the creation of YouTube videos, and interest has risen in fairies and everything about them. Most people who are familiar with the story, however, haven't yet put two and two together to realize that this is in fact a story or legend, depending on what you believe, of actual fairies. Remembering that they are not all tiny in size, I remind you of the story of the Green Children of Woolpit. For over 9 centuries, the story has been capturing the interest of many people who come across it, both those.
Actually, Pixie, they are. The brownies in that movie in Willow are very true to their form, about as close as you could get in a Hollywood form. And which ones are shapeshifters? That's a good question, because I think she even says that in here, and I don't know if I caught it or not.
Those who believe in the Fae and otherwise. Just the general strangeness of it and the fact that it is mostly known to be a real encounter or true story makes people absolutely enamored with and fascinated by the tale of the brother and sister who randomly showed up in a village in England speaking a language nobody had ever heard of
Green
before,
kids.
which is still allegedly cannot be interpreted to this day, wearing clothing made out of material no one had ever seen before or since, and having skin the color of bright green leaves. Skin the color of leaves on trees when they first rebloom in the springtime. These children were confused by the most basic of things. Even the food they were offered seemed to have them absolutely bewildered, and all they would consume were raw beans. They ate nothing but these beans for months on end, but in almost all other ways began to adapt to the way of life in this English village. They remained silent except to speak their unknown language amongst themselves, but were otherwise seeming to be adapting well to what had to be a very dramatic and traumatic change, considering where it is they said they come from. We'll get to that in a minute. It strikes many as odd, however, that upon being baptized, the boy almost immediately died. Could this be because a Christian baptism goes against the very nature of the Fae and their magic? After her brother passed away and was given a Christian burial, the little girl started thriving. She learned to speak English, began eating like a normal human being, and even lost her green skin color eventually. There finally came a time when she was able to and felt comfortable enough to tell the villagers her story. According to the girl, she and her brother were from a place called St. Martin's Land. Everything in this place, including the people, was green. The two were out herding their green cattle and heard a strange sound, something that sounded similar to a bell ringing. She said that they immediately became confused and disoriented and were compelled to start following the sound. This, she says, is how she ended up in their village. 1 minute they were in their homeland, and the next this strange English town, like the blinking of an eye. Could these children have accidentally and unknowingly stepped through a portal? Let's take a minute here to ponder whether or not these two actually knew yet that they were fairies. Perhaps they are of a strange race or breed which has no actual use for or interest in us humans and didn't feel it necessary to educate their children about us and our world or realm. Maybe these particular types are just as fearful as us in our magic as we are of them, and the children had only heard of us in their own mixed up and backwards version of fairy tales. Beware the humans in their evil realm at all costs, or something like that. Are there fairies who, for whatever reason, have no magic left and live a simple and mundane life, such as the ones we humans lived centuries ago, back when they were like peasants and stuff like that? Are they unsure of or trying to prove our existence? Maybe. And that's what many people who kind of know better believe about this particular story. The girl who was given the Christian name Agnes became known as ill-mannered and rude eventually as she tired of life in not just the village, but this realm. She wanted to go home. No matter how hard she tried, she could never even come close to finding her way back home. And some say even blamed the English villagers for the death of her beloved brother. She never heard that bell again and eventually married and settled down to have a family, though not in Woolpit, but in a surrounding village. She never returned to Woolpit and is said to have died an old widow, bitter and angry about the life she loved so much, which was forever changed and taken from her for unknown reasons. I wonder if, in even just a few of the many missing persons cases that happen in the woods, someone hears and is compelled to follow the sound of a strange bell, and perhaps ends up in a tiny little village called St. Martin's Lands, where everyone is green and from which there is no return. Perhaps, though weak, whatever species of Fae who had lost 2 children to our human realm, their magic is strong enough to exact their revenge today. Maybe this is one of the reasons we lose so many children to the unknown wilderness. We talk a lot about technology nowadays and the fact it's near impossible to know if photo or video of alleged evidence, I talked about this before, of the existence of not just fairies, but anything and everything else people have claimed to have encountered in the woods in the past few decades are real because of things like editing software and filter apps, and probably things that I know nothing about because I, believe it or not, and most of you that know me do definitely believe it, am technologically challenged. I can't even say the word. When speaking about true crime and forensics, as we do a lot on this channel and all across YouTube in general, we learn that as a society, there is no better proof found at a crime scene than DNA. Some skeptics have speculated that if fairies were real, surely there would be something left over from them, as not all species are said to be immortal, and that's true. If many of them were, then why would they be so protective and overly concerned of their species as a whole? While we know by now that elves need human DNA every few generations in order to survive as a race, and we also are well aware that there are some breeds who replace their own sickly children with our healthy ones in order to maintain their own survival, we don't know much of any of this or really much of anything at all when it comes to the Fae as fact. So everything I just said, we know. Do we really know that? I know I'm totally blowing your mind right now. Bear with me. This obviously includes whether or not a species of Fae is immortal. It would stand to reason to some that if a fairy were to die, regardless of species or race, there would be a protocol to get rid of the evidence of the body somehow, perhaps magically disintegrating it or even somehow transporting it back to their own realm, so no humans can verify their existence and then choose to go hunting for them. Despite their magic, there are many types of Fae who are just as afraid of encountering us as we are of them. There is a man in Wilmington, North Carolina, United States, who in 2017 came across something incredibly strange, yet also incredibly fascinating. James Cornyn was hiking in the Rocky Mountains and stumbled across a falcon's nest. When he looked inside, surely he did a double take as he couldn't believe what his eyes had seen this first time. Had he actually seen what he thought he had? James picked up the anomalous
I was thinking the same thing, Pixie.
Object and took some pictures. The rest, as they say, is history, and the photos have since been causing quite a stir and a very hot debate as to what it is he actually found. Those of us familiar with fairies will say with certainty he indeed found a tiny skeleton of a pixie. There seems to be no other explanation for it, guys. There really isn't. I've seen the pictures and I wish I knew how to put them here. But if you look it up, James Cornyn pixie skeleton or whatever, you should get the picture. Those skeptics are still scratching their heads and grasping at straws to come up with an explanation. Could it be at least possible that, before other pixies were able to get to their deceased friend, a falcon swooped down and grabbed what it thought was a small animal and brought it back to its nest for its young to play with or feast on? Could the bird have swooped it right out of the air? Who could ever know? There are just too many unknowns to ever say anything for sure when discussing the Fae and the missing, and that's a fact, let alone the two subjects together and how they may or may not be connected. Some evidence, though not undeniable, is at the very least unexplainable, and James's quote-unquote fairy skeleton is just one of those many pieces of evidence, and I believe it is factual documented evidence. You guys have to look at the picture. Many people, even those who aren't very skeptical and believe in the existence of many things lurking in the woods, will turn up their noses at the notion and turn a blind eye to the fact that fairies exist. Even those who themselves research things such as Bigfoot and even UFOs and aliens will absolutely write fairies and fake culture and any and all evidence of and encounters with them off as a bunch of nonsense. It's like they draw the line at the Fae. This, many believe, is exactly what the Fae depend upon. The absolute refusal of some humans to even acknowledge their existence. That is, until it's too late. This denial could very well be the difference between who goes into the woods and comes back out and who goes in and seemingly vanishes into thin air. Could the fairies somehow know this about a particular human? How easy it would be to sneak up on someone who won't even acknowledge your existence, let alone be on the lookout for you. How little effort it would take to catch these people unaware and make them pay the ultimate price. Whether it's a breed that simply wishes to play and perhaps ends up getting too rough, or the ones who come searching for us and have absolute intention of turning us into slaves or worse, it may be smart to listen to your human intuition when in the woods and forests, wherever in the world it is you are exploring them. Always pay attention to your gut, guys. Always. Better safe than sorry, our mamas used to say, so be sure and go prepared for anything and everything when out there in the woods. You can find how to best avoid most of the Fae folk, or at least maybe get out of an encounter where you have accidentally angered one, in the previous videos I've done and in my book. Some of this is in my book, some of it's not. I'm kind of ad-libbing a little bit to bring you guys in more interest. But if you want the book, again, the link will be in the description box. That's all I have for you today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. I really hope you followed this. Thank you so much for all of my new subscribers. Please share this, share it out as best you can. Be sure and give it a big thumbs up too. Likes are getting kind of low. We got to get those likes up, guys. Spread the love, right? Subscribe if you haven't already. Would you do me a huge favor and go on over to Moon Bear Oracle and subscribe over there? I've only put out a couple videos, but I do have a lot of stuff coming for that channel. You guys just have to be patient with me as I learn and grow. I'm doing so many different live streams. So I have the Wednesday night live stream right here on the Gemma Jade channel from 7:15 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern time with Ghostdragonzw and Damien B. Sometimes Damien shows up. I pull a one card intuitive oracle read for the week for whoever comes in. First come, first serve. On Tuesday nights, live from another dimension, myself and Ghost Dragons talking about things and stuff and things. Saturdays and Sundays, it's me and Jeff Harding from Pine Island Research, where we have topic-based discussions. Now, so he brings a topic he wants to talk about. I bring one I want to talk about from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time every Saturday and Sunday. And then on Saturday and Sunday from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time, you can catch me and Big Willie Townsend and a few other folks, because we changed a few things over there on Spaced Out Radio, the After Hour Show. Go on over and subscribe over there as well. You got Dave Scott over there, Jessica Jones, myself, Big Willie. It's amazing over there. You guys, if you're not subscribed to Spaced Out Radio, I really would go and check it out. Paranormal Chop Shop. I'm over there on Friday nights, sometimes with Sunny when my schedule permits, but Sunny and I are planning on getting an interview show together where we interview people, just me and him, a very professional, organized show. We're working on that too. So while I have all this other stuff going on, I also do personal readings. If you would like a personal intuitive oracle reading from me, please email me your name and birth date at moonbearoracle@gmail.com. For the month of May, I'm doing them for donation only. So that means I will do the reading for you and send it to you. And if you want to, if you're able, you just send me a donation through PayPal, Cash App, or my Amazon wishlist gift link. If you can't do it, that's okay. I'm willing to give you the message for free. All who need a message will come and get the message they need. Yeah, they were here for the month. Okay, I really appreciate you guys. I can't say it enough. I'm working on so many different things. I'm also a stay-at-home mom, full-time to an almost 4-year-old little boy. So give me a break when it comes to responding to emails and comments. I really do the best that I can. I have such exciting news. A documentary I'm co-writing that Kevin Costner may be narrating. Could be for the History Channel. Like, guys, there's craziness coming. I don't want to say too much, but I'll keep you guys posted.
Actually, it's a shame some of that stuff didn't come through because they would have done their wonders. But things happen. Can't hear her. Can't hear her over you. Can't hear you. I know you can't. I was kind of being a smart butt too. But yeah, that lineup was great, and I enjoyed that show. I kind of miss it. They were great. It was always good for a good laugh, and everybody left happy. But they got to messing with it. And sometimes you don't mess with something that's good. Sometimes you don't try to make something that's already good better because you only make it worse, right? I guess that sounds right, right? But Edna, on yours, I'm gonna be honest. The big one might be like, I mean, like been a brother or sister. Sounds weird, or a bigger one training the little one. But I've heard things like that too, where they saw something that looked. There were two of something that looked exactly the same, and then when they got a second look, they weren't the same. Either one was bigger, or one was much smaller, or one was male and one was female. It was. I've heard stuff like that before. Yeah, it was a good smile. I mean, it was always good, when they. I mean, when they got to laughing it up, it was great. I mean, and it made fun. It made for a fun night. Made the woo fun, as they would say. Made the woo train a little bit more fun. And it was good to have a laugh and see everybody coming in and having a good time. But yeah, I get what you're saying about wanting to see their faces. But they may not have even really showed you their faces. That's what I think. Mentor, Manti. The big one held the little. Yeah, mentor. The big one held the little one back, getting me. Then they vanished, never to return. Which that's like the black-eyed kid that I see in the hospitals and doctor's office, because now I am seeing him in the doctor's offices now too, which is weird. But there were times, and still are times, that I would see him with either one or two kids, and they were always younger. And it'd either be a boy or a girl, or just a boy or just a girl with him. And they were always much younger. And I'm like talking. He looks like he's about 10, anywhere between 12 and 14. They look like they may be like 5, 6, 7 years old. Then that spring, the owl, after that, everything started. Interesting. Yeah. You're going to have that. There's signs. And things lead into other things. Like I said, it's all connected. You know that. We all say that together. Don't toss. I like that. Don't toss a dwarf. If you do, don't tell the elf. Isn't that from Lord of the Rings? But I never put it all together until this group. Blue-eyed. Blue opened my eyes. That's good. No. Well, everybody has a good take on things, so. And it's always good, interesting. It's always good to get different inputs too. And some people nail it every time. That's good. Well, we're down to 5 people since I turned off. Yeah, that's all right. I don't plan on staying on too late tonight. I got a busy day tomorrow. I got a living room to reorganize. It's going to take a pain in the butt to do too. But it shouldn't take long to do it. Just be a big pain in the butt. It is 119. Yeah, the Fae is such an interesting topic because you'd hear stories that sound alike, and then you hear stories like that sound totally different. If you get what I'm saying, like it's the same creature, but they're doing different things. A lot of my best, I call them little people stories. Some came from Ken. Some came from actually talking to people in rural, very rural areas. Talked to a farmer once in a deli down in New Lex. And he said that he was telling me how his cows get spooked. What'd you say? Oh, she has a stream on? I like Susie B. She's very nice. She's a nice lady. I'm going to go say hi to Susie B on her stream, then head to bed. You have a wonderful night, too. Tell her I said hey. She stopped in that one night during Oracles, I think. She comes in a Moggs. She's a sweetie. You have a wonderful night, Pixie. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, hon. Cherokee say little people here before they came. Oh, I'm sure. I believe a lot of the Fae and all that cryptids were way here before we were. Oh, she's painting? Yeah, I heard she does that. I might have to go check her out one night. Good night, honey. Just like giants. Now, I'll say I'm a big believer of giants. Now, I believe in the Fae and I believe in the giants. I believe in it all, actually. Now, I'm some skeptic on some things, but my mind's been slowly turned on others. But I've always believed in giants. I've always believed in the Fae. Believe in shadow people because that's what I see. Or I call them shadow entities. I don't like calling them shadow people. I call them shadow entities. And hopefully Pixie will see you for her 11 o'clock video on Monday. Slender Man. That'll be a good one. But yeah, I'm a big fan of giants. I'm literally going to have to sit down and do a stream. You want me to do one, and I may do one on Rumble. I've got some material going. I'd like to do a real, but giants have been talked about so much, so I want to try to take a different approach. So I've been messing with it, but I do want to do on giants by myself. I do want to talk about doppelgangers and skinwalkers and wendigos and mimics. Munchie, what was their name again? Munchie critters. Munchie chipmunk. I'm glad they brought up mimics because those are interesting too. I'm glad they popped in and said that because that is all these things are so similar in some things. And see, giants are being seen again. I'm seeing more and more videos of giants, or what is to be thought of as giants, because these people are taking video of a mountain range pretty far away, and if you can see a human standing on that mountain that far away, they're pretty big. They're pretty big. I think there's one video where they tried to measure it out, and the person, because it looks like a person standing on this mountaintop, had to have been at least 14, 15 feet tall. Had to have been at least that big to be seen that well and big. Oh, you saw that one too? It is crazy. There's a couple like that too, Edna. There's one in India where these people, because a lot of that is like mountain range and they live on them. Of this mountain, actually, you could tell it's huge, and it looks like a big burly guy climbing up, literally walking up this mountainside, and then he goes up and over, and I'm like, that guy's at least 16, 17 foot tall, at least. And he was moving, the one on the mountain where he's moving around, yeah. And then there's the one that the guy caught up in Canada. Now that guy is deceased. A lot of people are not still debating that he just left and went quiet, where supposedly some people got involved and they scaring him, and agent men were coming around telling him to stop talking about it. But see, he had saw that one standing on the mountain. Then a couple of days later, he goes back and there's something on that mountain. And he's seen helicopters leaving with something that was weird. So there's a couple of them out there. It looked like he knelt down to pray for a minute. Yeah, that one's interesting because it does look like that's what he's doing. Yeah, that's a good one too. But there are a couple of them like that. There's one in Mexico where they're standing. It looks like they're standing on a front porch, and the lady's pointing. You can see her pointing. Then the guy looks up, and you can see him come up over the mountain range. He kind of stands there and looks around. And at first it looks fake, and then you realize this is not fake because it's like he looks that way, and then he immediately turns around and goes down the other side of the mountain. Yeah, there are some videos. You see, here's the thing, not CG. You got to think maybe AI now, which is basically the same thing. That's like some of the pictures all of a sudden popping up of giants and stuff, and you're seeing that. Some of those are AI. And there's one with this pictures of different guys standing with these creatures. And I know two of those pictures are definitely AI. But there's one picture they have in there that is an actual famous picture that's been around a while before AI that I'm kind of curious to find out more about. I'll have to pull those up and bring them in here one night. But yeah, that's the problem now with AI and CGI and what they can do. It's easy to fake stuff now. And these guys get these, you can buy packs to do your own. And it's like, I watch Godzilla, people make homemade Godzilla movies, and some of them are amazing. I watched one where a guy was doing scenes from Jurassic Park. I was like, holy crap. I mean, look at the movie Jurassic Park. Some of that is just nothing but CGI. And it's like, holy crap. If you're not paying attention, you would think it was real. In fact, a lot of people were like, did they really clone dinosaurs for that movie? And they are doing that. They're not going to tell you that, but they are doing it. We'll see if that mammoth lives in the mastodon that they're trying to clone right now. No, we're down to 4 people. Must be getting late. But then again, it's late here on the East Coast and it's mid-evening on the West Coast. So I'm sure there's other people streaming. It did look real. Yeah, I'm sure. The giant ones, I think most of the giant ones are real. I looked into like 4 of them and messed with them, and one guy even sent me, I'll have to find it, a while ago, probably about 3 years ago, one he took, and it's a very short, because, our camera phones weren't that good about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's not a great video, but it's real. You could tell he was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is real. And it's like the same thing. He's in Colorado, and I'm pretty sure what he was looking at was a very big Bigfoot going up a mountain. And this thing, if it was a Bigfoot, it was at least 10, 11 foot tall, 12 foot tall. It was huge. And it's going up this mountain. And I know that wasn't fake. You can tell by the camera quality, how it looked, how he was reacting. But there are some good fakes out there, even back then. And even if you can do realistic, say somebody putting a costume on and going out there, with the software you can get now, you can touch it up and make it look even more real. But that one that's real big now that keeps going around where the Bigfoot walks out in the middle while the trains, they're in the train, and you see the Bigfoot kind of walk out and sit down on the side of the hill? That is a fake. Actually, they show a video where the guy's putting the costume on just before he goes wandering around out there. But everybody keeps wanting to say it's real. It's not real. I can guarantee it. That one's a fake. Yeah, there's one where they're in a train. The guy is looking at as they're going over this mountainside somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but it's pretty. You should be easy to find. And they're on a train, and all of a sudden, this Bigfoot and light brown hair, because the ground is kind of a light brown. It kind of blends in, but he comes out and he kind of walks around, and he just squats down in the middle of this open plain. All it is low bush and stuff. And I'm like, that looks so fake. And you can tell by the way it walks and acts. And then later on, they showed a guy. Well, it wasn't a video. It was a couple pictures of a guy in almost that same costume. But with it close, it looks more, like a fake costume. But when you're seeing it through a train moving and you're trying to film it, it looks real. And I'm like, I don't think you would ever see a Bigfoot just kind of wander up as a train drove by and sat down and watched a train go by. That would be pretty amazing if that was legit. But I'm hearing that it's a big fake. But some people are still saying, oh, that's real. No, it's not. If I can find that video, I'll put it on here, because if I find them like on TikTok and do it right, but see, I don't do TikTok at all. So I have to watch taking certain stuff from other channels. That's when people go get upset unless you ask permission. That's like those videos I was showing of the one guy that I used to do stuff for. I remember seeing that one. It looked fake. Yeah, I agree. When you first see that video, Roger, it's like, yeah, this is so hokey. And people were actually falling for it. And it was like, come on, man, wake up. It gets, and that's like, I get why people call everything skinwalker and wendigos and stuff like that. But it's like Munchie Chipmunk said, there's mimics out there. We know that skinwalkers can copy. But come on, is there a skinwalker in every neighborhood? Come on. Has everybody learned? I mean, being a skinwalker it's not like being a wendigo where you're cursed or something like that. You have to earn that. You have to do a ritual to be a skinwalker. It's a detailed thing. I mean, if you go that far. Now I wish Ryan was here because he could explain it. He's good at that stuff. He knows his stuff when it comes to wendigo and skinwalkers and pale crawlers. That one stream I watched where he did an interview. Man, I was amazed. I felt for these guys. I'm sure they did get a lot more views after the stream, but during the stream, they only had like 3 or 4 people in the room. But man, they had one hell of a conversation. They had dark evil magic is what it is. Yes, it is. I mean, it's like going beyond Satanism, just satanic magic. It's way darker. These people that indulge in that sacrifice a lot to be able to do that. And it's not good. Yeah, I believe. See, that's why they don't like to talk about it, because they said a lot of the native, and I can't even say the tribe's name. They don't even like talking about it, because they say when you talk about skinwalkers, you're basically setting yourself up. White people just think that skinwalkers are random monsters that are born that way, but we know they are human. Yeah, well, we know skinwalkers. See, the difference to me, that's like a lot of people want to say that Dog Man is a form of a skinwalker. I don't think that's the case. Personally, I think during and after the Great Flood, somebody was messing with genetics and created Dog Man. Or it is actually a creature from another realm. Let's put it that way. The Wendigos, it's just nature and getting even with humans. As far as I'm concerned, you're cursed. I don't know. I've heard so many things, but the basic lore of Wendigos is if you take of human flesh, or how that goes. This is you, Chris, are perfect at this. Roger, Ryan, I'm just not very good at explaining that stuff. No, I don't. No, I see. I was just going to say that. And no, Dogman is not a lycanthrope. No, a werewolf to me is a whole different ballgame because I've seen a real werewolf. I'm pretty sure what I saw was not a Dogman, was not a skinwalker. I'm pretty sure that this, and it was a female, was a werewolf, or yeah, werewolf, a wolfman, werewolf, was a lycanthrope. Because you could just feel it. I felt it. And I'm still to this day so pissed that only one of us got a good picture, and then he tore the camera. No, they don't change. They don't shape change. No, I agree. Dogman's a whole different ball game. And I think that's the same that goes for like Goatman and Pigman. I think there's something totally different. And they say the fallen angels had, yeah, and that is true. And that is true. They kind of the fallen angels kind of screws around with anything they can. And that is biblically written. With the DNA gene splicing technology of today, it would, well, and they believe that, what is that, Monato Island or whatever? There's an island out there off of New York where they keep finding crazy things washed up the shore. They believe that's a DNA gene splicing lab. Yes, that is right, Chris. Angels have bull's head, a lion's head, a human head, and a hawk head. They have 4 heads, right? Isn't that how it goes? A bull's head, a human's head, a lion's head, and a hawk's head. Am I missing something? A ram's head? Something like that? It's something like that. There's plenty of pictures out there. That is in the Bible. The Sumerians or the Anunnaki were said to be experimenting and gene splicing. The angels, the fallen angels, they were, pardon the expression, they were literally screwing everything. Some angels look like clusters. Yes. There's a couple of famous, well done pictures of what they might look like. They look like, they have all kinds of eyes, but they're like nothing but wings and stuff. The giant eyeball. You have the wheels that have eyes in them. They're like, what do you call those things? With a wheel within a wheel, and then the strips themselves are like all eyes. See, I told you, I'm not very good at describing stuff. That's why I'm not a great story. I can tell a good story if I slow down and think it through and prepare. But I do have with all the issues I have, I do have a very hard time articulating things. That clusters of eyes. Is be not afraid, because they are scary looking. Yes, they are. And I think they give us, and the pictures that you see, what most people associate angels with, I think that is their way of kind of making sure of giving somebody, and the impression they give people, that way they don't scare them. But a real angel will show itself. Angels are just as scary looking. Yeah, angels are just as scary looking as most demons. That is a fact. Big flaming weapons, yep. Well, if you go and dig in Catholicism and start looking at the angels and their rankings and Lucifer and fallen angels rankings, like Michael and Raphael and all of them and Gabriel, I believe they were of human form, just androgynous. They weren't really, they didn't have genitalia. Let's just say it that way. They didn't have breasts, but they were human looking. I believe they looked kind of like a human. And you hear all different types of what they might have looked like, but I think some angels did, some of the hierarchy of the angels did look more human. And then you had all the other angels, like the ones you guys are describing, that are very scary looking. I mean, if you see them, you go, holy crap. That's why they say, be not afraid. Angels of war will destroy anything unless God calls them. Yep. Will you imagine what it'd be like to meet like Michael or Gabriel or any of them? They would be kind of hard asses, to put it bluntly. I mean, they would be quite, I wouldn't say aggressive, but you would want to mess with them. Yeah, and God has control of them. They only listen to the word of God and only talk the word of God. The angels is another real good subject, angels and demons. And talking about the layers. Yeah, they would be more neutral than good. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I agree with that. That's an excellent way of putting it. Like they keep talking about the refugees, the effort. Now, see, this is why I hate the Euphrates River drying up. There's 4 fallen angels that are been cast into that, and these things are not pretty. They're like really ultra bad. They can only be watchers on earth. Yeah, they only act with God's word. They can't interact with us unless they are told to by God. Yes. See, that's why Lucifer got mad, and a couple of them, and all of them got upset. The fallen angels was God gave us free choice, free will, the right to choose of our own, and that's why. And Lucifer also wanted to be God. He wanted to be as God. He wanted to be like God. And you got to remember too, Lucifer was really the musician of heaven. And a lot of people say that's why you always see occultism and Luciferian workings in most music. Obedient to God, yes, only. Has anybody ever seen the movie The Prophecy with Christopher Walken about Gabriel and about the little girl? That's a good movie. Christopher Walken plays Gabriel. He's sent to go kill the girl. Pardon the beep, the girl, I should say. I was just talking about a movie, YouTube. God's must be beautiful angel. Well, he made us in his image. So think about that. That's what the apple in Eden represents, self-awareness. Well, he gave us the right to choose. But I agree with you. I agree with you and agrees with you. And good conversation. I'm getting tired. I'm actually getting tired. I like when we have good conversations like this. And all those who are watching in the background, thank you. And for all the people that came in during the video, thank you for hanging out in the beginning of the video. Thank you so much. Appreciate the views. Love the fact that you're here hanging. I have to acknowledge you folks because I am a ghoster too. I like to sit in the background in streams and listen and watch. You think, Chris? I don't believe that. But that's your opinion and his mine. But no, I don't think they were his second attempt. Because I've discussed that with other people and I've gone back and looked. I personally have found no other knowledge of anything before that. That's like Lilith. Lilith was not the first. I have yet to find anywhere, unless the Catholic Church has it buried in a vault down there. I have found no proof that Lilith was Adam's first wife. Now, people argue with me about that, but I have looked. I have looked and looked and looked. Now, there is a Lilith in the Bible who wasn't that great. But yeah. And if you can show me where I can find where they are the second attempt, I'd appreciate that. Oh, he comes back quick. Yes, because Cain and Abel ran off and got married. If they were the first humans, where the hell did the wives come from? That is an interesting question. And I'm thinking they don't really address that. But Adam and Eve had a lot of kids. Didn't, after. And what happened with Cain and Abel, it's hard to explain because I still look for that answer. But I don't think they were at first. I think these women. Here's something that I thought as a kid, because I can't answer that, and that is good. But as for Adam and Eve being a second attempt, I don't know if I could. I haven't seen proof of that. But yes, that has always puzzled me too. That these guys, Cain ran off and found a wife and everything. So I get where you're coming from. When I was younger, before my dad handed me the Bible and Chariot of the Gods, I believed on one side, while God created man, there was still evolution going on. I actually believed that at one time. Now, I don't know what I believe on that because there's so many unanswered questions. See, that's the thing, Chris. There was incest back then because that was the only way to populate the earth. You got to think about that. Once the earth got populated, incest became kind of a bad thing, except amongst the royals to keep it in the family. But I believe, there was sisters and brothers marrying each other in order. But see, in Noah's story, his sons took wives from the village that were still, they weren't the greatest, but, purest. That's why Noah was picked, because he was pure. He was of the heritage. I'm trying to explain things and I'm not doing a very good job. Thank King James for destroying half of our history. That is true. There's some, things that go on over in the East there, the Middle East, where they're destroying our history too. And they've been destroying it forever. Every chance they go and get to tear stuff down, they do it. So a lot of that history's been lost too. I got sent to the preacher's office for this very question. It had to be incest. See, and it had to be. But like Chris states, Adam and Eve were the first two children. I mean, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. So where did the other wives come from? But when Cain killed Abel, they were probably in their 20s. 30s. Well, technically, you can prove 80% of the Bible. It's faith, not physical. And I went to Catholic school and got in trouble for the questioning the Bible all the time. Yeah. I think having questions is good because there are stuff that is, especially in Genesis, that's kind of like, wait a minute. Well, they had to have been brothers marrying brother marrying sister, and then those brothers and sisters would get married and they'd have children, and those children would marry each other, and it just sounds funky. Science is proving a lot of the, yes, it is actually not much. It's getting there though, and we know there was a great flood. Now, not everybody agrees on if it's one flood or two floods. I think there was a great flood, and then I think there was a mud flood after all that water, because the ground wasn't the same. And then you had the flood, then you had the mud flood, if you get what I'm saying. Or you had the mud flood before the flood because the rain, washed away all the mountains and stuff. It's interesting how you want to try to put time and she was a Methodist. I'm a Presbyterian. Well, I was raised as a Presbyterian. I'm not much into the categorization of religion. It's either you're a Christian or not, the way I look at it. If you believe in Jesus and God, and then you have your Muslim, Islamic. I don't consider Buddhism as a religious, as more of a way of life, kind of like a guiding. But that's my opinion. But most people do consider Buddhism as a religion. Methodist, Tamer, Baptist. Oh yeah, I know a couple Baptists, man. They get crazy. They get into it. That's for sure. Now Thomas, my friend, he's a Methodist preacher. We have all the same stories. It all comes from the same book. It's just how you look at it. And it just shows you how everybody interprets the Bible differently. As long as you're getting the same message out of it, I think that should be a good thing. Now we start talking about religion and every kind of, because I don't mind talking about religion, and it's okay because there's a lot of Christian channels out there. There's a lot of Muslim and Islamic channels out there. And it's good to talk about these topics. Of course, you have to be careful what you say because you do tend to trigger some people. But hey, like I always say, there's no atheists in a foxhole. And my dad will tell you can vouch for that. No matter the religion, the stories are all the same. Only the names, and not really that much either because the Methodists and most of these churches and Christians and Catholics, they all use the same book. It's usually King James Version. Now, when I graduated from high school, the church gave me a Bible, and it was a New Age Bible. It was basically only the New Testament. And it read so much different than my King James Version. And I'm like, I don't know if I like this Bible. I put it away and never used it. I read it. It was like, and then read my King James Version. It's like, and the King James, my version I have is a family Bible. I mean, it's so old. This book is so old. I keep it in plastic. And then we have a huge family one that my brother has. And that didn't get touched during the fire. I'm so happy. That thing's huge. It's one of the big ones. But we need to see if I can find somebody who can repair the cover. Like the story that flooded. Every religion has that story. And you find that same kind of story. Yes, almost every part of this world. You find it in one form or another with a little bit of a different telling. Not much of a difference, but a little bit of a difference. Somebody said, wouldn't it have been interesting that Noah may not have been the only one out there floating around on the ocean, that there might have been other people from other continents also told to build an ark? Could that have happened? You know, and as for the Nephilim, there is a story about a Nephilim that hung to the side of the ark during the flood, that tried to stay alive by hanging on to the side of the boat. Yeah. See, it's hard to, I wasn't prepared for this conversation, but it's a good conversation. This is why I like you and Chris. Roger's even stuck his nose a couple times in the conversation. What I like when people get involved, because I get so much insight from other people this way. I pay attention. I was kind of hoping that if Munchy Chipmunk was still watching, you get involved in the conversation. You too, MT Paranormal. But I know a lot of people go to the other streaming, because I know being on the West Coast, it's still pretty early in the evening. What a great night. What a great conversation. But I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope just keep on that. Yeah, I'm going to get ready to call it here pretty soon. This is too good a conversation. This is a good time to let this conversation and have it next Wednesday when there's no video. Nobody comes in and breaks our heart. I felt bad for Mary. But Chris and everybody popping in, it's so nice to have these conversations. I love these type of conversations. I guess I'm going to have to start taking note, keep bringing my notes out and keeping them close to me. I got to get my setup different here. Dad's off. See, my room's real small. I'm in the room I grew up in. But Dad has offered me his room. It's a master bedroom. I don't want to take his master bedroom because you got so much, dude. You should be able to sprawl it out more. I just don't want to take his room. He doesn't stay in there only to go in and watch wrestling when he's feeling lazy. Anybody else got any last comments? This was a great conversation. I love to be booted. I know we all have our own opinions and own theories, and I love that. You don't know how many times I've had my mind change from listening to other people because they're able to stand and say this, and this. You know, there was some valid points made. I mean, Cain wandered off across the lands and got married. Where did this woman come from? Good question. Oh, I got in big trouble when I said that in church or in Sunday school. I actually think Adam and Eve was here, and around them was evolution going on. They're never going to open those doors. The only way you're going to get down in that Vatican vault is if you storm it and take it, because they're not going to let you get in there, and they're not going to stop hiding it. The only way, because that Vatican is its own little country, and it's sealed and locked. The only way you're going to get in that vault is if everybody turns on the Vatican and tells them, and then I mean everybody, because there's a ton of secrets down there. Oh yeah, there are things that we have a right to know. I can guarantee that. And then there's a lot of questions like we're talking about tonight about, where do these women come from, Cain? I'm sure those answers are down there. It's like I heard what I was watching something on Rumble. Now I got to go back and see if I can find the video of these two guys arguing about how old the Earth really is. One says the Earth is like really old, and the other guy was saying the Earth isn't as old as you think it is. It's more of the biblical age of what the Bible says. Because if you go by the Bible, the Earth isn't really that old. And the other guy said, well, what about all this technology they're hiding from us? Doesn't mean anything. There was, even after the flood, there was technology being used that it was erased from us because it was free, like energy and stuff. They were using the Earth's magnetics to power stuff. Have you ever seen those old print art pictures of like the World's Fair? And there's lights everywhere. This is before there was electricity. That's not gas doing that. So how'd they light up all those lights? And stuff like that. That's all been erased. If you look at some cities, you can see where the buildings still go underground, but had been cut off because of the mud thing. It's weird. And if you look at certain places, you kind of wonder, is there carbon right? Do carbon dating right? And are there new methods still right and accurate? And it's just weird. Oh, yeah, we were way more advanced. And I'm going to tell you, and as I've said this before the flood and a little bit after the flood, our technology was more Earth-based. But because they got greedy after the flood, they started hiding all that stuff. But yes, there's technologies that were very Earth-based technologies where, if we'd still use them today, what do you think? I personally think the pyramids were just big, huge batteries pumping out electrical pulses or whatever to charge everything, create light. I mean, those big, huge black slabs they find in some of these pyramids, and there's one pyramids, they believe those were actually probably not coffins, but batteries. I mean, Chris could tell you, he probably knows about that kind of stuff too. And the way we are going, we will be the next lost. Yes, I think that's what's happened in the past, just like in Noah's day. They got advanced, they got crazy, they got kinky. Everything was just, they were trying to make themselves their own gods and did what they wanted. Nope. Wipe the slate, let's try again. I think that's happened a couple times. Like the Aztecs. I think the Aztecs were way more advanced than they're telling us. And some of the other of those tribes, Aztecs and the Mayas, were way more advanced than I think they were telling. And I believe they did interact with dinosaurs. Because I don't think dinosaurs were that old either. They're finding out that, there's a lot more to that too. But I think they were way more advanced. Look what happened to them. They just disappeared. They got so advanced they couldn't deal with the small stuff. So when it stopped raining, they turned to the gods and started sacrificing everything. They went through a major climate change or something, and they didn't know how to react to it, because when you get so advanced, you rely on things, and when that's gone, like us, you take away people's phones, like what happened a couple of days, it just shows you how people panic. What happens if an EMP happens, a big one, wipes out the whole electrical grid? People are going to have to learn to start all over again, because it's going to be real, basically being sent back to the caveman days. And the rate we are going, we have to wake up and start talking. Yes. And so people don't, this is another thing. They talk about climate change and all that. And I kind of agree with some of it, but not all of it. But Mother Earth is a living, breathing organism, just like we are. Earth is a living, breathing organism. That's the way I see it. And it goes through evolutions just like us humans do. It evolves, it goes through patterns and change, just like the sun, just like the stars. When space does something weird, it affects us. When we do something weird, it affects space. That's how connected we are. You know, yeah, we lost it for like 2 weeks here one summer, and it was awful. People were freaking out. It's like, dude, deal with it. Your great grandparents dealt with it. Why can't you? Yeah, she'll shake us off like fleas. If something doesn't throw a big old stone at us first. I often joke, oh, he promised no more floods, but he said nothing about throwing a rock. Right? And that rock's going to open a crater up in the FEC, which are going to let four of the most terrifying fallen angels out in the world. But yeah, I always joke about it. But yeah, my dad, every time I say to my dad and some of my relatives, are like, come think about it, Stephen, you are right. He did promise us no more floods, but he said nothing about throwing a big old rock. That's true. And there's an event happening on April 8th for the total eclipse, where you're going to be able to see not only Venus, no, Mercury. It's going to be Mercury you're going to be able to see real clear when it goes total. And you're going to be able to see, probably with your eyes, a comet whose tail has gotten a lot bigger now. And they're already seeing it, and they've been watching it. But you'll be able to see it that day, too. It's supposed to intersect just the same time as the eclipse. My dad's 87 years old. Says we are in the end times. My dad doesn't seem to think that. He seems to think, but it doesn't every every generation says that. I don't know if me and you, Edna, or our parents will see it. I don't know if even our kids will see it, because he does not give a time or date. Everybody's has predicted it, but we really don't know when it's going to go down. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you and I know atheists that follow prophecy too, and they'll tell you prophecy is being fulfilled. There's a lot of prophecies that have been fulfilled already. Some that are being set up to be fulfilled. Yep, only God knows. They don't say how it's going to happen. You just have to follow the prophecies and watch the signs. And I think a lot of people take a lot of the revelations as symbolism. Well, I got news for you. The dragon it talks about, that's a real creature. And you're going to find out that that's a real thing. That some of the stuff that they talk about in Revelation is very literal and very scary. It says in Revelation, even the strongest of men will weep like children because of the fear of the things they see. Close to that. So yeah, I think things are going to get crazy, but we're just seeing the beginning. Let's just hope that, our kids don't have to go through it, or our grandkids. Because what's coming, I don't think people really understand, even if they don't believe in that stuff. What's ahead of us is going to get bumpy, and it's going to get scary. And it doesn't help with the political world, making that even more so. Everywhere, not just here in America, but all these world. Other than Poland, man. Every time I hear about Poland, man, they're good. You talk to people from Poland, hey, we're cool. You guys go nuts, we're fine. You know, it's like a lot of people didn't even know there was a war going on in the Red Sea. I was talking to a guy the other day. He goes, what? I said, yeah, they've been fighting over in the Red Sea for a while now. I didn't know that. Well, you better start paying attention. Rumors of war. Some verses make God sound like a dragon, smoke from his nostrils, fire from his breath, silver, shining skin. Yep. There are a couple descriptions like that. Everybody backed out of the conversation. I don't know why. Chris got quiet. He might be tired. He said, yeah, that poor guy, I know he's not feeling good. I appreciate him coming. Chris, if you're still listening, I appreciate you stopping. I'm glad you're doing okay enough to come in. Just get some rest. Good for you too, Edna. Get yourself strong. And once again, I thank all the other people that come in earlier. Do appreciate it. And people still hanging out. The four of us. I know I'm one. I know Edna's one. I'm pretty sure Roger might be one. Cindy Lee didn't come in. And if Cindy Lee, if you're watching, honey, everything's good. She felt bad too. She got a little grumpy, but she felt bad. All good. We'll fix it next time. And it happens. I'll tell you what, I have a hard time some nights keeping up in oracles. I notice I can't even really talk and chat like I used to. I'm so busy trying just to keep up with names, trying to pay attention to her and figure out when she's done actually talking so I can give her the next name unless she says next. But I do have fun. What a great night. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, all the people that are watching. I think I am going to call it because I'm down to 2 people now. All of a sudden, boom, 2. That's all right. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. Edna, thank you for hanging out and talking with me, hon. It was just been me and you the last, 15, 20 minutes? I'll have to go back and look at timestamps. When was Chris the last time poked his nose in? Oh, at 1:50. So basically, the last half hour has been us. Well, it's 12, only the last 15, 20 minutes. I don't know if I'll get some sleep yet, but I definitely got to get up and start pacing around. I'm getting antsy, fancy feet and kind of getting antsy. I don't want the tremors to set in too bad because if I get too antsy, then the tremors set in and it's even worse. Loves the smell of meat. It's crazy. I want you guys all to get some. Thank you, folks. And those who come back and watch the end of this or watch the replay, thank you. Those who came and hung out with us during the show and the stream, much love to you. Your pain is finally stopped. That's good. And it's probably going to come and go. Just like I said, and stay on them. If you don't like what you're hearing, you don't like the way you're feeling, you tell somebody. You to let them know. And, let me know about your test results. Email me. I just was going to email you, and I figured I'd catch you tonight anyways. I pretty much said what I need to say, and that is you stay as a family, stay protected. Me and Patricia and Thomas all agree that the saying that you fought off with your daughter came back for you and took a chunk of you. It's up to you now and your faith to heal that. And it's going to take, like I've been saying, that's why I keep telling you from the very beginning. It's not going to happen overnight. Saying 3 or 4 months, it may take longer, it may take less. But it's all going to be up to you. And you just got to stay positive, stay on them, keep a good sense of your head on your shoulders as much as you can. And I know it's hard. But I know it's not going to get you. But it's done. It did what it did what it wanted. And I'm going to tell you, when you guys are a family, it's afraid of you. And it's afraid of you because you're a lot stronger than you're a strong woman. I know you know that. You're pretty positive about yourself, but you need to be a lot more positive. And with that family, I don't think as long as if it happens again, your daughter just needs to do the same thing she did last time. Get out. Don't acknowledge it. Don't play with it. Just tell it to get out. And if you have to go biblical on it, then you go biblical. And that may make it go away for good. But yeah, and you're in a healing process, and it may take you some time. Like I said, the big thing is just keep your faith. You got as much faith as you have, use it, because it's a powerful thing. Faith can move mountains. So this is a good way to end the night. Honey, you get some rest too. And like I said, the three of us again, the third person, thank you for coming in, who you may be or may not be. But have a wonderful night, folks. And you have a blessed night. Have a good day tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see you Monday at 11 for video, Slender Man. And then Tuesday for talk. If we don't see, if I don't see, I know you're resting, you're busy. And right now you got a lot on your hands. So just take care of the things you can. Love you guys much. Yep, you probably will see me Monday. I try to be there for her because she has a hard time getting in there. Mondays and during the day is kind of crazy. And it's nice that she takes the time Tuesday because I let her ramble that day. So remember, Monday, 11 o'clock video. I don't know if she's going to be able to do a second video. She wasn't going to put out one Monday, but she was able to get one done. So we'll get the Monday Slender Man. I don't know if she's doing a members yet. And then Tuesday talk. Then I'll be here Wednesday at 10 to midnight. Pixie's off this Thursday. And I'm not sure. Friday's Gemma's birthday. If she doesn't, so that is still kind of up in the air until she tells me. Much love. For those who watch the replay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. We did ramble a little bit more. I'm going to start doing that a little bit more now. Because if you really want to watch the video without my ugly face, then you can go and watch it in her library. And it was kind of talking about the video and stuff while we were playing around. So awesome. Good night, Edna. And anybody else that's the other person that's watching. Much love. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you on the flip side, which is Monday. Night, Edna. Night, other person. Have a blessed one.